Good day everyone, I'm Cal from Essentials, and today we'll be talking on another local perfume brand, INTUS. So let's get straight into it. So we have 3 fragrances from them. We'll be testing out their inspired versions, or inspired collections as they call it. And the 3 perfumes we have here is their inspired versions of Omnia Amethyst from Bulgari, The Tragedy of Lord George from Penhaligon's, and from Tom Ford's Private Blend, Lost Cherry. So let's check them out. So let's go ahead and open this parcel. Nice. So here we have the fragrance box. So first we have Lost Cherry, then we have Tragedy of Lord George, and lastly we have Omnia Amethyst. So without further ado, let's test this fragrance. So the first perfume we will try is Omnia Amethyst, and first of all, let's talk about the packaging. The packaging is straight up a 10 out of 10. You have the name of the fragrance, the local perfume brand, the concentration, which is a parfum, and you have the volume of the fragrance, which is 30 ml or straight up 1 fluid ounces, and you have contents of the fragrance, which is the ingredients of the fragrance, and some information about the company or the local brand. So we'll be trying Omnia Amethyst. So Omnia Amethyst is manufactured by Bulgari, the same brand who makes Bulgari Tiger, Bulgari Extreme, and many more perfumes that are known in the industry. And on Fragrantica, it is rated at 3.95 or flat 4 when rounded off out of 5, with 5,180 votes, and it was launched in 2006, and the nose behind the fragrance is Alberto Morelia, so a really well-known nose or perfumer in the industry. So without further ado, let's test this out. So let's open up this box. So as you can see, the bottle is extremely reminiscent of, if you know Byredo perfumes, the designer brand Byredo. Their their bottles are extremely reminiscent of them. So you can see the juice right here and the name of the fragrance. So let's test this out on paper and see how it smells. Okay, nice atomizer, I really like it. So the notes listed on Fragrantica are green notes and pink grapefruit for the top. We have our iris and Bulgarian rose in the mids, and for the base we have heliotrope and wood cinnamon. So I'm expecting a bit of woodiness and vanillic tones when it comes into the dry down. So this is extremely floral and powdery forward. I definitely say that this is a typical everyday office Dunbridge fragrance for women. So this is a woman's fragrance, and I bought this for my girlfriend, so shout out to my girlfriend out there. Yeah, it's a typical everyday Dunbridge fragrance that you can wear on any seasons, but this is typically worn in the summer seasons or in the hotter seasons, especially here in the Philippines. So I guess that the powderiness comes from the iris, and the floralness of the fragrance along with the pink grapefruit gives this a really nice touch. And down the base, the woodiness isn't that particularly, you can't smell it that much, but it's there. And there's undertones of heliotrope that makes it a bit more creamy and vanillic. So yeah, so far on paper it smells great, so let's test it out on skin and see how it performs. If you don't know, the concentration of these perfumes are 30% oil, so that's why it's parfum. Okay, on skin it has more of this green and grapefruit aspect into it. Yeah, it's more forward on that grapefruit and greeniness. Then you have the florals, which is the iris and the rose. again, that the woodiness or the woodsy notes isn't that particularly well. It isn't there. It's lackluster. Really great fragrance, typical office, everyday, school friendly fragrance, especially for women. I can see that my girlfriend wearing this and it performed really well on her. So yeah, for me, since I don't really take on to women's or female fragrances, I'd give this a solid 7.5 out of 10, especially to me, whose my nose isn't really particularly developed for this type of fragrances. So yeah, this is a solid 7.5 out of 10, and I'd say it's pretty close to the original based on the reviews on Fragrantica. It smells like a spring that smells grass and non-descriptive flowers. So I can totally see that. So yeah, overall a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Really great fragrance. You should try it out. So up next, we'll be trying out Tom Ford's Private Blend Lost Cherry. They're inspired or take on Lost Cherry. So I have tried Lost Cherry on a local mall here, and let's just say that the cherry note isn't that realistic, or it's a bit synthetic. And let's see if this copies or captures the DNA very well. So yeah, and we have the perfume here. As you can see that the juice is a bit darker compared to the last perfume. And Tom Ford's Private Blend perfumes, inspired or original, tend to have this darker color when it's macerated or rested for a few months. And I hope and I guess that this perfume, after maceration and a few months of rest, would change into a much more deeper and darker color. So Lost Cherry by Tom Ford was launched in 2018, and the nose behind this fragrance is Louis Turner. Anyways, let's try this perfume on skin and paper. So first, we'll try on paper. Okay, nice atomizer. Realistic cherry note. Really, the notes listed on Fragrantica is we have bitter almond, black cherry, and cherry liquor for the top. We have sour cherry, plum, Turkish rose, jasmine sambac for the mids, and for the base notes we have absurd amounts of notes. We have vanilla, tonka bean, cinnamon, balsam, benzoin, sandalwood, cloves, cedar, patchouli, and vetiver. Okay, here you immediately get hit with that synthetic smelling cherry. You immediately pick up that cherry and the cherry liquor in the top with a bit of creaminess from that bitter almond. You can also pick up some of that fruity aspect from the plum and the cherry, sour cherry from the mids. Also a bit of that floral from the rose. So when it dries down, it turns into this very powdery fragrance, and you're getting that from the cinnamon, sandalwood, and from the resins on the base, and also with the cloves as well. So overall, this is a really great fragrance. It captures the DNA very well, and I'd say that this is around 80% to 70% close, which is absurd considering how cheap this fragrance is. It has the same feeling of the synthetic cherry note from the original, but compared to the original and in contrast, for me, the original has this much more funk or fizziness, if I were to describe it, compared to this. But overall, it's a really great copy or inspired version. Really great for the colder seasons, and it's a really forward gourmand scent. If you want something with a cherry note and you want to test out something that has cherry, this is a really great choice. So let's try this out on skin and how it performs on skin. And my phone ran out of storage. I beg your pardon for that cut, but I already sprayed it here on my back of my hand. And yeah, again, same as in the paper, you'd pick up that synthetic smelling cherry with the cherry liquor and some of that fruitiness from the plum and sour cherry. Yeah, it's a bit synthetic smelling again, but for the price range of this inspired perfume, it's really great. Around 70 to 80% close, you know. If you want a cherry, realistic cherry fragrance, I recommend something like Guerlain L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum. But overall, I give this a solid 9 out of 10 rating. It's a really great inspired fragrance and it captures the DNA very well. If you want something that smells like cherry, or if you're into the vibes of something like a cherried candy or cherried cherried ice cream, you'd like this one. It's a really great fragrance. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for this, and it's a really great inspired fragrance. So the last perfume we're talking about is The Tragedy of Lord George from Penhaligon's. And it's crazy that a local perfume brand knows a niche fragrance like this. I'm really excited for this one, and this one is for men. The last fragrance we covered is a unisex, and the first one is for a woman, or women's. So The Tragedy of Lord George by Penhaligon's was released or launched in 2016, and the nose behind this fragrance again is Mr. Alberto Morillas, a really talented perfumer and nose in the fragrance industry. So yeah, let's test it out on skin and see how this performed. So I haven't smelled the original yet, but I hope I get a gist or an idea on how the original smells with this one. So the notes listed in Fragrantica or woodsy notes: brandy, amber, tonka bean. So this is gonna be a cold weather or winter fragrance. Okay. It has the same vibe as a Fougere fragrance. Yeah, this is straight up a Fougere fragrance, if I were to say. Yeah, you can immediately pick up that woodiness, some of the booziness from the brandy, some amber, just a hint of tonka bean, like the creaminess of the tonka bean is there. If I were to describe this is like a old man's Fougere fragrance. It's like a shaving style Fougere that leans into a darker wood profile, darker woodiness profile. So that's how it smells on paper, and let's test it out on skin now. Okay. I can totally see why this is parfum concentration, because you can immediately smell it on the air. Yeah, it's a really forward Fougere fragrance, like an old man's Fougere. You can immediately pick up the woodiness, like the woodiness is extremely prominent. But if I were to say that the brandy or the booziness of this fragrance is a bit underlying, or it's like an undertone, it's a bit lackluster for me. The only thing that I can say and describe this fragrance is it smells like a 19th or 18th century, like an old man wearing a long coat. Like it's just like he's fresh out of a barbershop, and you smelled, or you went past through a sophisticated man in that time, and I'd say that he completely smells like this. That's the only thing that I can describe this. Like, it's a ambered out with old style or old men Fougere fragrance. The brandy note, I was really hoping for the brandy note to be there, but based on the reviews here in Fragrantica, again, like the brandy note it's like lackluster, and the vanilla accord has a welcome solid presence without being that sweet. Yeah, I can totally see that. It's creamy, hard to say. But overall, yeah, I give this an 8.5 out of 10, and I'll follow this up with a review in like 3 to 4 days. So I'll see you guys in 3 to 4 days with these fragrances. So it's been an entire week since I've made the unboxing and initial impressions of these 3 fragrances from INTUS, and now I am here to give you my final thoughts. First, let's talk about Omni Amethyst. So after a few days of resting and giving this like a test, I didn't give this a full wear since again it's a female or woman's fragrance. When I tested it out, it's leaning much more into the floral aspects instead of the green or greenery aspect of this fragrance. Also, it gives this really nice sweet touch to it. sweet floral touch because of the heliotrope. It gives off this really nice creamy floral mixture to it. I bumped this up into an 8.5 out of 10 because of how amazing this smells after just a few days of resting. I really recommend you rest this before you give this like a full wear, fully fledged wear. So yeah, overall this is a really great fragrance for women, and I can definitely recommend you this, especially if you want a typical everyday fresh floral, a little bit sweet fragrance for the office, or something you can wear occasionally on like a school environment. So yeah, this is an 8.5 out of 10, so that is their version of Omnia Amethyst. Now let's head into Lost Cherry. So Lost Cherry is a bit disappointing even after 2 days of resting this perfume. This is the first perfume or fragrance that I tested out of the bunch, and after giving it a full wear, I used around 6 to 7 sprays, 2 sprays on my clothes, which is I sprayed it on the vest of my uniform, and 5 sprays on my skin. As for the scent and the performance, again, 3 to 4 hours on my skin. It lasted more on clothes, around 6 to 8 hours. And the projection is soft projection. It's soft projecting on my skin. I don't know whether this would perform even better on your skin, but again, it depends on your skin chemistry. And as for the rating, I give this an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. It captures the DNA very well. And with the upcoming colder and winter seasons, I can recommend you this. I can see you or someone wearing this in the colder seasons because it's a cherry gourmand fragrance that is syrupy sweet, a bit resinous, and also very powdery. Again, it's forward on the cherry note and dries down into this really nice powdery cherry, syrupy sweet, candy-like cherry consistency. So yeah, that is Lost Cherry. Really great fragrance and really great performance, especially for the price. I can recommend you this, especially for the upcoming colder and winter seasons. So for the final fragrance and perfume that we'll be talking about, Tragedy of Lord George, or Lord George from Penhaligon's. So their take on Lord George is really similar to the original based on the reviews that I saw in Fragrantica and after watching some reviews in YouTube. The brandy note is a bit underwhelming. It's like somewhere around the base, then around the opening, or the strongest note of the fragrance is probably the woodiness and the, what they call this, the creaminess of the tonka bean. It's really nice, warm, inviting, and also it gives this really nice old style fougere fragrance. You know, if I were to describe this fragrance, it would be an old man's fougere. It really smells like that barbershop-esque kind of fragrance, you know. It's a bit mature for my age, and when I wore this, my girlfriend got weirded out. Was a bit disappointed because of the notes listed, but it's understandable. I'm also picking up a bit of ambroxan here, not the type of ambroxan in Dior Sauvage, but there's definitely ambroxan here. I don't know if my nose is just that weird, but I can pick it up. But overall, this is a really great fragrance, probably the strongest out of the 3 fragrances I bought. This is the strongest. 4 to 5 hours on my skin, 8 hours on my clothes, and the projection is soft to medium or moderate projecting, you know. Overall, I give this a solid 8 out of 10 as well. So yeah, that is their version of Lord George. So yeah, that sums up our review of these 3 fragrances that we got from INTUS Parfums, and I must say that I'm really impressed for the price point and the performance and the quality of the fragrances. You know, you couldn't go wrong with it. I totally recommend you, and I give the local perfume brand or the shop a solid 8 out of 10. Again, the quality is superb, totally worth it. Everything here is really nice. But yeah, that sums up our review for today, and again, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed, drop a like and subscribe as it helps the channel out. And if you're hesitant to buy fragrances from perfume brands or local perfume shops like this, I'm willing to make reviews and test out your fragrances so you can have the decision if you want to buy from their shop or not. So yeah, again, I'm Carl from Essentials. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, stay and keep on smelling good. Peace.